Morning everyone. Today I'm going to say something about interpersonal communication. Interpersonal communication just means the exchange of information between two or more people. As long as we are communicating with another person, we are involved in interpersonal communication. Interpersonal communication involves independent individuals. This may seem obvious, but really what this means is that each person has their own motivations, expectations, and interpretations of communication. One of the most basic differences between types of interpersonal communication is verbal and non-verbal. Verbal communication is that which is spoken. When you communicate, what do you say? Not only that, but how do you say it? What words or ideas do you emphasize? What language do you speak? All of these is part of verbal communication. Non-verbal communication is the information without being spoken. What's your body language telling the other person? Researchers agree that at least half of what we communicate is non-verbal. So this is pretty important. Oral communication is something that refers to any form of spoken communication, such as public speaking, phone calls, podcasting, or speaking up during a staff meeting. It involves your word choice, tone, and pitch of your voice, talking speed, and even your use or lack thereof of filter words like and like. Research shows our ability to communicate orally is even more important to helping us land a job than we may realize. Listening. It is a key part of communication that doesn't involve just hearing what someone says, but also actively understanding what they say. You'll often hear people but the importance of active listening or showing a speaker that they have your attention and you are interested in what they have to say. Aspects of active listening involve making eye contact, nodding your head, taking notes, and saying things like to indicate understanding. Some of the barriers of effective interpersonal communications are physical barriers, language barriers, and emotional barriers. Physical barriers is accessibility that can create interpersonal communication barriers. This can especially challenging for remote employees who are not in the same offices and can't physically meet in person. But physical barriers also includes connection issues, disruptive environment, acoustic interference, weather conditions, and more. Language barriers. When we speak different languages, communication is understandably more challenging. But even if both parties do speak the same language, they may have different level of mastering, or they may speak various delegates. Emotional barriers. These interpersonal barriers of communication relate to how we process information and the impression and emotions we attach to communication. All of our communication, whether we are the sender or receiver, are filtered through our personal experience and the emotion tied to them, and this opens us the difference in understanding. Thank you.
Good morning, one and all present over here. I am Vishal Kumar, and right now I am going to present my views upon interpersonal communication. So, what do we really mean by interpersonal communication? Interpersonal communication is the process of exchange of information, idea, feeling between two or more people through verbal or non-verbal. In this communication, we include face-to-face exchange of information in the form of voice, facial expression, body language, and gestures. The level of one's interpersonal communication skills is measured through the effectiveness of transferring of messages with the people whom is communicating. So, what are the uses of interpersonal communication? Commonly, interpersonal communications used within the organization daily internal employee communication, client meeting, discussion. And in colleges also we require interpersonal communication. Suppose if ma'am is here to teach us, we need to require to pay attention upon that. So there should be an effective way of communication. And in seminars, lecture, teaching, in meetings, in colleges, and therefore also requires communication skills, interpersonal communication, and it increases the productivity through interpersonal communication. That increases the productivity because if you are a good listener, you can be a good communicator too, and it will help you to increase or get rid out of your poor communication skills. Thank you.
I'm Sinha, and I'm here to discuss about what is interpersonal communication and what are the advantages and disadvantages of interpersonal communication. So, interpersonal communication is that communication which is used within an organization. It includes communication with employees, clients, meetings, etc. There is coordination, respect of feelings. There is treating each members equally, respect for each members, and there has to be softness in your voice because you are going to work in a private sector, and if you are going to work on that, then there must be a interpersonal communication. Interpersonal communication can take many forms. For example, it can be verbal, speaking one to one. It can be non-verbal, using facial expression, gestures, postures. It can be in written form. It can be in letter, or you can write an email. Interpersonal communication is so important in so many aspects of everyday life. Interpersonal communication is not just about what is actually said or the language used, but how it is said and the non-verbal messages sent through tone of your voice, facial expressions, gestures, and body language. Now, I would like to mention some of the advantages and disadvantages of interpersonal communication. So, the advantages of interpersonal communication are interpersonal communication skills can improve your personal and professional relationship by helping you to express your thoughts, feelings, ideas, information. It helps you to build strong and positive relationship with your employees to complete team projects smoothly and effectively. Now I would like to mention some of the disadvantages of interpersonal communication. It includes spread of lies and misinformation as well as sharing bad ideas. Sometimes we see that due to some reasons the employees didn't have the time for themselves also in interpersonal communication. That's all. Thank you.
A very good morning to everyone. I am Sinha and I am here to discuss about interpersonal communication. So what is exactly the interpersonal communication? From the time I have come here, I am saying you are understanding we all are involved in interpersonal communication. What it means, interpersonal communication is the exchanging of information, feelings and ideas between two and more person. Now there are many types of interpersonal communication. Verbal communication. Verbal communication is that which is spoken. What do you say? How do you say? What is your idea? Everything is included in verbal communication. Non-verbal communication is that without being spoken. It can be your facial expression, gestures, that's all. Oral communication is this refers to spoken communication one-on-one, speaking on phone calls, podcasting, speaking up and a staff meeting, word choice, tone, pitch of your voice, talking speed. It is all oral communication. Listening is also included in interpersonal communication. What I am saying, you are understanding, not only hearing, you have to understanding what I am saying, that is listening. There are lots of barriers in communication, that is physical barrier, language barrier, and emotional barriers. What it means, physical barriers are maybe my body position, textures can affect your communication. My language should not be understood by you. My emotions will not be understood by you. So that is all the barriers of interpersonal communication. Thanks.
Good morning everyone, my name is Shesham and today I am talking about interpersonal communication advantage and disadvantage. Interpersonal communication is the one-to-one communication between two or more persons wherein exchange of ideas, information or messages takes place through a channel. It can be a face-to-face communication between parties, communication over mails, telephone, and the likes. In interpersonal communication, the way something is said is as important as what is being said. Show here the tone of voice, body language, gesture, facial expression, the feature of interpersonal communication are as under. In his, in his people where whenever we try not be says anything to anyone at all, it says something about our mood, attitude, or nature, ideas. That is not by word but through the non-verbal signals.
Hello everyone, I'm Gaurav and today I'm talking about interpersonal communication. Its importance, its skills, advantages and disadvantages. So let's start and talk about what is interpersonal communication. Interpersonal communication is a process in which exchange of information. Interpersonal communication is a process of exchange of information, ideas, feelings between two or more people through verbal or non-verbal method. It is often include face-to-face exchange of information in form of voice, facial expressions, body expressions, and gestures. So let's talk about the importance. Effective communication is a very helpful in workplace where we need it to interact with a different type of people. It is also known, interpersonal communication skill are also known as life skill. Let's talk about skill. Interpersonal communication skill are the skill required to effectively communicate, interact, and work with individual and group. Talk about advantage. Connection with context more easier. I I will help it will help to maintain good relationship between you and your other members like your family and your colleagues and your seniors. Talk about disadvantage. Interpersonal communication are the barrier of interpersonal communication are any negative patterns of behavior that needed your form of communicating or discourage of other from communicating with you. In many class cases, miscommunication is the product of unintentional verbal or non-verbal clues. Thank you.
Defined as the process of exchange of ideas, information, facts, feelings, etc. to others. Coordination and cooperation are the most important skills required for having an effective interpersonal communication. It plays an essential part in improving harmony in a group and also helps in adapting change. It plays a crucial role in developing leadership quality in a person. Interpersonal skills are extremely important for establishing healthy relationships in workplace with others. It also brings better career opportunities.
Good morning, everyone. I am Aziz. I'm talking about interpersonal communication. Interpersonal communication is to way to contact anyone to share our opinion, ideas, and informations and feelings in the message and in the talking in the verbal. Verbal two types of communication: verbal and non-verbal. Verbal to talking about the face-to-face and non-verbal to body posture, feeling, body posture and your standing position. The three combination in the 3 point in the communication, uh, the emotion and body language and posture and connection. Thank you. This refers to any form of a spoken communication, such as public speaking, phone calls, broadcasting, or speaking up during a staff meeting. It involves your word choice, tone, and a pitch of your voice, talking, a speed, and even your use of lack of thereof words. Research shows our ability to communicate poorly is even more important to helping us land a job than we may realize. Verbal communication. This encompasses all types of written communication, including emails, reports, Slack, messages, text, presentation, slides, and more. It also entails the various methods that we use to enhance verbal communication and make our meaning clear, such as employing GIFs and emojis. Non-verbal communication. This is any type of communication that doesn't involve words. It encompasses everything from body language and hand gestures to eye contact and even what you are wearing and what's visible in the background of your Zoom calls. Listening. Listening is a part of communication that doesn't involve just hearing what someone says, but also actively understanding what they say. Aspects of active listening include making eye contact, nodding your head, taking notes, and saying things like to indicate understanding. The four principles of interpersonal communication. These four principles helps to demonstrate the nature of interpersonal relations and should provide you with a deeper understanding. Inescapable, irreversible, complicated, contextual. Inescapable. It's pretty much impossible to escape interacting with other people, even if you prefer time by yourself. You will probably be communicating regularly online with others. Irreversible. We can't take back the things that we say or do during interaction with others. Advantage of interpersonal communication. Understanding yourself and your emotion, empathy, and understanding others. Good analytical skills. Importance of interpersonal skills. It will help us to build, maintain both personal and working relationship with others as we are able to manage our emotions with challenges and learn from our experience. Thank you.
Good morning. Today I'm here to deliver our note on interpersonal communication. Interpersonal communication is an exchange of information, ideas, feelings, thoughts between two or more people through verbal and non-verbal exchange. It often includes face-to-face exchange of information in form of voice, facial expressions, body language, and gestures. Interpersonal skills are important for communicating and working with groups and individuals in your personal and professional life. It plays an essential part in improving harmony in group, making a strong relationship with friends, family, and community members. It is proven that maintaining a personal relationship is vital to our whole body illness. Interpersonal communication consists of three elements: words, tone of voice, and body language. Effective interpersonal communication skills helps us in connecting with the people in our surrounding more and more and establishing a good relationship. Like any other, interpersonal communication also has some barriers. These are any negative patterns of behavior that hinder you from communicating or discouraging you from connecting with all the people. Here, sometimes we are involved so much in group activities that we don't make time for ourselves.